Welcome everybody to week. Who gives a fuck? I am Rachel, your host of Movies, Music, and Mayhem. The Mayhem has hit really hard. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. The debate just ended, and I have some thoughts. If you weren't following me on Twitter, I was live tweeting. You can go back and watch that. I think it's entertaining as hell. But I do have one of the most amazing people that I have had the pleasure of meeting since moving back to LA. She is like a little sister / daughter / hermana for me. I love her dearly, and you guys do too, because she's wonderful. Everybody welcome Sabrina. Yay!
I'm excited that we're finally doing this.
I know. I'm so happy.
I feel like we've talked about it for so long, so I'm pumped. This is gonna be a blast. I already have my drink in hand.
Guys, sláinte.
Cheers.
Jesus Christ. Now, I know that you just did a show for First Cut, so you didn't get to watch any of the debate again.
No, I didn't. You know this because I'm always with you. Every single time any debate happens, it'll be on a different day. It always ends up when I'm doing the meaning of, when I'm doing First Cut Live. They just don't want me to watch any of it, but I definitely always check out the highlights after.
I will tell you that one of the gems of the evening was Donald Trump addressing the female person of color moderator, saying that like he was the least racist person in the room. And I was like, buddy, like, shut the fuck up.
I do have one question because I heard about the mic muting.
Yes.
Ever muting his mic or having to do that at all?
I think they did it towards the end, but like it got to a point where and he was doing this and like shushing the moderator. And I was like, oh, she better shank him afterwards. Like, fuck you. No, you don't do that. It's so disrespectful.
It's just straight. I already talked about this. We talked about this on First Cut, kind of what we expected. It's just, he's an imbecile. Like, that's what it is. He can't take he doesn't listen to any rules. He doesn't listen to anything like that. People were like, even with the mic muting, Biden could still hear him, so he could still mess him up. Like, he purposely, because Biden had a speech impediment, he's probably purposely going to try to mess him up, make him sound stupid. And it's just the fact that we have to speculate about what our current president is going to do to like mess up the debate is just so sad. Because he doesn't follow any rules. He has no class, nothing like that.
Yeah, he has no decorum. But I will say this, you can't how do you make somebody else sound stupid when you're saying things like, nobody knows more about wind than me? Like, I'm sorry, but I don't understand you. But real quick, before we get into all of this even more, guys, if you have any questions for either of us, no matter how inane or political you want to get, Streamlabs is the link is above. It's listed above Sabrina's head. It's also in the chat below. $5 gets it read live. We will be going to checking those periodically throughout the evening because we know you guys have great things to say and ask because we're kind of awesome people. I'm not going to say anything, but I do want to say, Brandon, yes, we're going to address this right now. Sadly, I think I mentioned this last week, but the Brotherhood of Bar Prado is breaking up, and we are moving our separate ways. I am moving back to my mother's house in San Jose and help her. She's had a really rough time during COVID. She's been alone all the time, and Alex is moving on, and Brandon is moved on, and we are sad. But you will be seeing multiple different backgrounds for the next month until things get settled. But yes, so there's that. So let's get this out of the way because Brandon's not here. Leigh Whannell.
Yes, Leigh Whannell. Guys, seriously, I have it as one of the links in the bio. I interviewed Leigh Whannell one time, and I remember I already knew about him. I knew he was incredibly intelligent, but damn, after I got off the phone
You stalker.
After I got off the phone with him during our interview, I was smitten. I Googled, I'm like, this is when I was single, by the way. I was like, is he married? Is he in a relationship? I needed to find out the answers because that man is so intelligent, so incredible, charming as hell. Like, he really does have it all. His Australian accent. Woo!
Yeah, it's one of those, is he happy or can I make him happy situations?
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah, plus he's a fucking genius. All of his movies are amazing. and entertaining and fun and smart. So yeah, for those of you that don't know, Sabrina and I have had many talks of our love for Leigh Whannell, and we'll literally just walk past each other and be like, Leigh, and be like, we turn into like the silly girls from Beauty and the Beast, and just like, he's so wonderful and glorious.
It's something where like, I don't know how somebody is so intelligent, so true to their art, especially making bigger blockbuster movies, but staying like in that whole like art house horror type of aspect. It's something I really, really admire. And he has a clear vision, and he's doing the Wolfman film with Ryan Gosling, and I can't wait for that one. What he did with Invisible Man.
Yeah, it's good. It's going to be interesting to see what he does with that, because I'm like, Ryan Gosling is stunning, one of the most physically attractive human beings ever created, which is why I believe that God is either a woman or a gay man, because few straight guys would ever create something like that. But he is wonderful, and I'm very excited to see him go dark, because it's very rare that we've gotten to see him go dark. Like, we've seen him be like in the rom-coms and funny and charming, but like, I want him to like sink into it. Yes, yeah. Ferris. He is the guy who did the Invisible Man. He was also Specs in, was it the Insidious movies?
Yeah, Insidious. He was in Saw. Like, he's a frequent collaborator of James Wan. So that's kind of how people know him a lot. But the stuff he's been doing on his own, he usually just writes the screenplays, but now he's been really going on to like direct his own screenplays. And genuinely, my favorite interview I've ever done, him and Mike Flanagan are like equal level right now. Both of them are incredible.
Oh, Mike. Mr. Mike. First of all, I just have an affinity for the Irish, so, you know, there's that. But Mike Flanagan is also like, because I started studying, and like, not studying, but just like, I started my horror watch early in like mid-September, because I was like, well, what else do I have to live for? Like, let's just start this early. Like, I'm at the point kind of right now where I'm like, is Hallmark starting their Christmas movies? Because I kind of want to like just watch that 24/7. But Mike Flanagan also lives like within a mile of the apartment or something stupid like that. I'm like, let's just take walks and hope we run into him, because his work is exceptional. I was just talking about him on that live stream. Like, I've been talking about him forever. I watched his entire filmography in a week. Brandon, get out of here. You know that if I see Mike Flanagan or Leigh Whannell, it's game over. I'm kidding. I'm joking. 2 words, hall pass.
Hall pass. But that's really what it is. He's another one. I think of them on the same thing with like continuing. It's modern horror that feels so classic. Both of them kind of have that touch to it. And that's why I admire both of them. And Mike Flanagan, everything he's done with Hill House, Bly Manor, like, I love the fact that he also reuses the same actors just all the time. It's something that I find so sweet, like watching Ouija Origin of Evil and seeing Elizabeth Reeser and the young girl who played the same character. They're playing mother and daughter in this one, and the other one, it was just young Shirley and old Shirley. I love that.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, their dedication to the art and the story, and they tell such good stories. Like, they're just things that, like, you just kind of want to live in the world. Like, I am not a fan of the horror situation, because I'm always like, I would never be friends with these people, because they would be like, we're going to stay in a house and it's haunted. I'm like, peace out. I'll be at the Holiday Inn. Here's some salt. Good luck.
You go to the Stanley Hotel with me and Brandon the next time.
That no, do not poke the bear. No.
I mean, I was all good. Brandon was the only one that was getting haunted. So
hey, if I want to get felt up by a stranger, I'll go to a bar when all of this is over. Like, let's just be honest. Like, I want to be able to see something that's, you know, touching me inappropriately.
But to be there and to think about how Stephen King was there when he came up with the idea for The Shining, like, that's the coolest.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the best. But also, like, that kind of leads into what one of my favorite things to do is like get to know people about like their traditions and like what they grew up doing, like with their families and stuff. So like, what are some of your favorite Halloween traditions that you grew up with?
Ooh, so my family, my mom's a hairdresser and she was also a makeup artist. So she
is the hairdresser of Chicago, y'all.
Yeah, she's like talented as hell. Obviously, the situation's changed a little bit because of COVID. She doesn't like work in a hair salon currently at this at this time, but she still does some special like house calls, whatever. But she's really talented. I would just let her completely just like play with everything. My hair, my makeup, since I was little. So that was probably my biggest thing was like, I was like, I want to be Harley Quinn. I want to be this. I want to be that. And she would just head to toe recreate the entire look. She would go all out for everything to the point where it was almost embarrassing for me because I was taking Halloween too seriously. You know when you're like 12 and everything's embarrassing? That was the age where I was like, okay, like do it good, but not really like too much. You know, I'm trying to be low key. I'm a teenager and everything sucks right now, so you can't really, you know. But yeah, so that was a lot of fun. That was something that I did. I watched horror movies with my dad all the time, and he was always so afraid. And that's something that I enjoyed because I was never afraid and he was scared. Like, I watched The Exorcist when I was a kid, and he actually left the house. He got into the car and drove away.
Yeah,
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I remember when I was like 13 or 14, I was like digging through the VHS tapes. Yes, I'm that old, fuckers. Digging through the VHS tapes, and I found like, I can't remember, I think it was Salem's Lot. And my mom, I was like, Mom, what's Salem's Lot? And she's like, that's the scariest movie you'll ever see. I'm like, great, let's watch it. So I popped it on, and she's sitting there with the blanket like up to her nose, like shaking. She's so scared. She's like, this movie is so scary. And I'm like sitting there, I'm like, this is, no, like, wow. And she's like, you are so desensitized. I'm like, whatever, it's the world that you created for me.
That's how we are. And I remember my dad, he couldn't even like go back into the house for a while. Then he was convinced that it was haunted. He was just like going through it, and that made me laugh because I watched Hereditary right when it came out, and I kept telling him he needed to watch it. He absolutely refuses. Every single time I go back to Chicago, I'm like, you want to check out Hereditary now? Like, nah.
Oh, Mama's in the chat. Mom, was it Salem's Lot or was it like Last House on the Left? I can't remember which one that you made me watch, or that you were like, it's the scariest movie ever. But I do have to come back. Chris Taylor, 100%. This is 100,000,000,000% true. An Irish lumberjack is my kryptonite. I have no qualms about that. It's yes, no shame. Yeah, my mom is a seamstress, a sewer. Like, she used to hand make all of our costumes growing up. And so I have these great pictures of me dressed up as Rainbow Bright with like the puffed out skirt that like goes out, like out, not down and out, just out. No wires, just out. And it was like, had the boots and everything. She made a Donald Duck costume that was like a stuffed pair of shorts. So like around like the waist area and the back and the butt formed like a duck's butt. And as you walk, like there was a tail and it would waddle. It was the
so
fucking
cool.
Cutest thing. I'm like constantly trying to her to be like, hey Mom, can you like upgrade that to plus size instead of like 6-year-old size? Like,
can she do custom orders? I'm looking for Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman.
I mean, she is retiring in Brandon for the win tonight. Yes, it was quacktastic. I mean, she is retiring in December, so you know, we can talk. Yeah. But did you guys used to go like trick-or-treating until like you couldn't walk anymore?
Oh yeah. Like 100%. My parents would have to go find me and bring me back home. I would like leave and I'm just like, I'm going to go venture off. And they would always have to pick me up randomly. They'd just be driving everywhere. I wouldn't be answering my phone because I was like an annoying teenager. I trick-or-treated until very late, until probably like sophomore year of high school. And then that's when it kind of transitioned to fine. Okay, I'll go to parties instead.
No, see, you did it wrong because I trick-or-treated until I was a senior in high school because what you do is you find out where the house is that the party's at, and then you trick-or-treat to the party, show up with a sack full of candy, and all of a sudden everyone's so fucking excited that you're there in addition to you being you know, like, yes.
You did it right.
Yeah. I mean, we were devious growing up. We had our shit together. We were like, we had a plan, and this is what we're doing.
Our candy, but we're also still gonna go to the party. We're not missing anything.
We're gonna get sugar high and drunk. Sorry, Mom, but still. Now, are you dressing up this year? Are you guys coming over to dress up this year?
Yeah. So we're gonna do something. It's something we'll definitely talk about it later. Whether it's you guys coming here, or us coming over there, whatever it is. But I am dressing up. I'm keeping my costume a secret It is like I'm going like full out because last year I wasn't able to, and it's insane that this year is even worse. But last year I had an audition on November 1st, so I couldn't go out for Halloween.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So I was like, damn, I really have to go all out this year. So I got the one. I'll say this one. I want to do another costume for fun with Brandon. I want to do uncut gems.
We've talked about this at length, guys.
So this isn't the one that I'm keeping under wraps. I want to be Julia and I want him to be Adam Sandler or gender swap, honestly. So either way, I'm here for it. I just want to get that done.
I just want Brandon to dress up as Adam Sandler so badly because Max, guys, if you don't know, our friend Max, who lives in New York, is dead set convinced that Brandon is Jewish. And he claims he's not, but we're all like, but you are, right? And so to see him dressed up as Adam Sandler would just be like cherry on the top.
I want the little glasses. I want the whole jacket situation. I want the blinged out Furby. I'm making it happen, guys. Whether I'm Adam Sandler and he's Julia and he's in like a skin tight leopard dress.
Oh please no.
I want to see that. All right, maybe I'm the only one. Okay.
Girl, that's you. That's all you.
Him being Adam Sandler and then I'll be Julia. It's fine.
I think I mean not saying that Brandon doesn't have the legs for that dress, but it stops at that point if you're going up. Like he's a very attractive boy, but I don't want to.
Are you dressing up?
What?
Are you dressing up?
Yeah, I'm gonna dress up. I think Alex is dressing up too. Alex, are you dressing up? Oh, he's playing video games.
Are you guys gonna be Adam Sandler and Julia from Uncut Gems as well?
Yeah, but I have to be Adam Sandler because he'll look much better in the skin tight leopard dress. No, I had a dream when we moved into this apartment because we have, for anybody who's seen the drive-by schmodown that Mark Ellis did, you've seen how our balcony overlooks the street and we're like 6 feet off the ground. Or off of street level. I had a dream when we moved in. I was like, this is going to be amazing for Halloween. Like we could throw a party and like we'll just have like a bowl of candy outside. So if anybody's outside and there are trick-or-treaters, we can just chuck candy at the kids nicely. And I still have that dream, but I feel like it's just going to be me sadly dressed up in a costume, like playing a Halloween like mix from Spotify and like having a good time by myself. And then like throwing candy at our neighbors who are walking their dogs, but only if the dogs are dressed up because we've got some cute dogs.
It's just really tough this year. Like, because I don't want people, obviously the second wave is like hitting. So like the thing is like we interact with each other all the time. Me, you, Alex, and Brandon, like we're with each other 24/7 basically, unless like one person has to leave for work or do work in any way. But other than that, like I know we're together and we're safe. So that's why I'm not worried about us hanging out on Halloween.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I'm so excited to see you. Well, I mean, I was gone for like 10 days to go see my mama, and I like got back and I was like, the house was so quiet. It was just me and Alex, and I was like, where's Brandon and Sabrina? Where's my sister? Well, I mean, yeah. It's fucking COVID. Okay, so if COVID was not happening, we would probably be having a massive party here. We'd all be getting dressed up and hanging out. What do you think the best costume idea for 2020 is?
Ooh. Oh my gosh.
Because I've got a few.
Okay. So I think the one that I chose is, okay, so full disclosure, this is the first time that I've been in a relationship during Halloween. So I'm like, couples costumes, let's go. Like, I'm so excited. So the one that we're actually doing, this is the one that I've always wanted to do. And I'm really, really excited about it. Like, I wish I could say it. Should I just say it?
No, surprise.
No, okay, no, don't say it. Okay.
Guys, on Halloween, just make sure that you're subscribed to Sabrina's Instagram and like and comment there, but it will be good. I guarantee you, because she's so creative and it's going to be fucking funny.
I'm really, really excited for that one. But overall, I mean, I love the Harley Quinn Birds of Prey outfit. I like her new one with her jacket, like the fringy and everything. I love all of that. I always want to do like full on horror. So I would want to do like a Freddy Krueger and make like half of my face the actual makeup, like VFX makeup. I think that's so sick. Other ensembles, like if I'm with a group of friends, like X-Men would be really cool. I've done Mystique once, so I like painted everything that you could see blue.
Oh.
Yeah, I tell you, girl, I went full out every single Halloween, basically. But I loved it because I did all the blue like face paint, and then I had like gems that kind of like, you know, just like looked like
the dots and stuff.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. So if I was doing something like that and I was on my own, then I would probably do like Mystique.
Was that your favorite costume that you've ever done? And if not, what was
it was my favorite, but it also took the longest. And then by the end of the party, like everybody had blue on them. I'm like, I'm so sorry, guys. Like I would like hug somebody and it's like their whole, like I get it on like their shoulder or something. And then my other favorite one was that I did Harley Quinn before Suicide Squad came out, so nobody knew who Harley Quinn was. And I did the Harley Quinn from Suicide Squad. So I made the like Daddy's Little Monster shirt. I made the pants, like I had the bat and everything. And I went to a party at University of Chicago or University of Illinois at Chicago. And nobody knew who I was. Everyone's like, who are you? And I'm like, you'll find out in a year. And then of course, every year since then, that Harley Quinn is like the #1 costume of all time. So
yeah, I think one of my favorite ones that I ever did. Have you ever seen Dr. Horrible's sing along blog?
Mm-mm.
So it's this musical that Joss Whedon did with Neil Patrick Harris and Nathan Fillion and Felicia Day. And Neil Patrick Harris plays a villain who's in love with Felicia Day, but she ends up dating. It kind of reminds me of The Boys a little bit. But she ends up dating Captain Hammer, played by Nathan Fillion, who's like the good guy, like the hero, but he's like a massive douchebag. And it's just so funny. And like, hey, you know my love for Nathan Fillion. Like it runs deep and hard and cold, and hot at the same time. But I dressed up as him and I was on tour with Beauty and the Beast. And I was like, oh, this is a musical. Everybody knows what this is. They'll get it. And every person was like, what are you? And I'm like, no, like, how dare you ask me about this? But I think my favorite, what?
Like explaining a costume to somebody is always the most annoying thing. I'm like, just let me be. Don't ask like, who are you? I'm like, just let it happen.
I mean, it's fine if like when you say it, they're like, or like they have that like, I know who you are, but who are you again? And like they're like, oh yeah, that's amazing. That's so fucking cool. That's such a deep cut. And I was like, nobody knew. I'm like, you guys suck. I special ordered this shirt. But we did have a Halloween party one year when I was on tour of Beauty and the Beast. We had a night off. We had a travel day into Memphis, a night off, and then a travel day into a show. So we're in Memphis, right off of Beale Street, and the whole theme was Beauty and the Beast goes horror. And so like people were dressing up as like the guy who played Gaston dressed up as zombie Gaston after he falls off the cliff and like lives and like comes back for revenge. Like everybody had a backstory. And I was Babette, the feather duster, after she turned human and got to eat again. So I had size medium fishnets that I was like ripped out and like bulging through and like things were too small. And it was like, because she, you know, got fat, and I was like carrying around a full bag of Lay's, just like eating them. It was so much fun. I love that costume.
This is one, I don't even know if you guys are going to be able to see it. I wanted Brandon to do this so badly. He would never, and I didn't even bring it up to him because I'm like, I don't know if he would, but
yes, Dr. Frankenfurter.
Yeah, I was like, this would be so cool, but he definitely wouldn't do it. You want to wear fishnets
and heels. And garters.
Yes.
And a corset and a bra.
He sits there quiet. He's like silence. Nope. Not saying anything. But I think he would look amazing. And so I want to do something. I love like really huge like theatrical costumes. Like I like to go full out. Or else it's like, why even do it at all? Like the one costume that I did do last year was Courtney Love. And like it was a lot of fun because I wore a wig. I had all that, but it's because the party was like rock star themed. So it was all the different decades. So that's why I chose it. But the actual costume I had planned was a full Pennywise. And that's what I didn't get to do because I had the audition.
That's so creepy. You know my stance on clowns, and I, as much as I love the movie now, I'm still like, clowns can go fuck themselves with sandpaper. I am terrified of them. It's getting better.
No, it's the worst for me. But I'm like a masochist. I like to make myself feel pain as often as possible for some reason. So my mom got me a clown for my birthday when I was like 3 or 4, and it's scarred me ever since. And then it became my favorite book, and the It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2 that we actually have a meaning of episode coming out tomorrow for. Those are some of my favorite movies that have come out the last few years. So, and plus I have the tattoo and everything. Like,
yeah, I like that very subtle plug. That was pro to the extreme. I mean, slip that in there, let everybody know. I mean, those are, I think, my favorite horror movies at this point. Like, I showed them both to my mom when I was home. And she did not want to watch them, but she was so invested. Like guys, I'm not even going to do a spoiler notification because it's been out for a year and a half, 2 years. Like, you should have seen it. But like at the end when she like realizes that like Richie is like crying over Eddie and everything, and you realize that he was in love with him, and my mom was like, "Oh, I realized that when he like was sketching the initials into the fence post," and I was like, "How did you get that before me when I first saw it?" And she's like cheering for them and like being very vocal to the movie. It was so sweet and funny. And I was just like, this is why I love these movies, because they're so engaging.
I think it in particular is so special because I think a wide audience can see it. You don't have to be a huge horror fan. Like, the kids invest you in the first movie, and then continuing on their story as like adults invest you in the second one. That's something I find so special because it's not fully just horror. In the first one, it's like, coming of age comedy, and then second one, there's like zany comedic moments. It's not just like full horror, even though I enjoy all aspects of like different kinds of horror. I think this one's really special and kind of speaks to a bigger audience.
And both movies are so funny. Which they don't have any right to be that funny because they are very serious movies about like children getting killed. We do have some Streamlabs real quick. Tamor23 says, "Hey Rachel, I've been a fan ever since your debut on the MTS. I whispered to my youngest brother that that's Rachel Silvestrini, and he was clueless. I scolded him to pay attention, and you're not old at all. I remember using tapes back in the day. Thank you so much." He also added, "I have to go to sleep now because I'm getting an injection in my back tomorrow. Oh my God. But I wanted to tune in to catch your stream live for the first time. Sabrina, always a pleasure. Have a great show, you two, and everyone tuning in. Thank you so much, Timur. I hope everything goes well for you tomorrow. I mean, it's a scary thing anytime that anything gets put into your body, no matter how invasive. So you'll be fine. I have utter faith, and I can't wait to see you next week." And then Jeremiah Morris donated, says, "You two are amazing. One of my favorite reasons is you both have dealt with Hannah by choice."
Yeah,
Jeremiah.
He's sitting over there. You have anything to say?
Boo.
Hey, you don't get to boo my fans. You're not here. Normally he'd be doing that from outside my bedroom door, just hands cupped against the wall, against the door. It would be really funny. But yeah, so thank you so much for the support and the comments. I really appreciate those. But yeah, so okay, so what is your typical Halloween night?
Ooh, okay, so it always depends on whether Halloween is falling on a weekend, a weekday. This is the craziest thing because I think there's a full moon on Halloween this year, and it's on a Saturday.
No.
Like, we're literally missing out on like prime Halloween. Well, we're not. We're still gonna be together. We're still gonna be like killing it.
Guys, don't go out on full moons. It's bad.
I love all that kind of stuff. Like I'm not into like Ouija boards and anything like that. That's a step past where I'm comfortable, but like full moons and everything, I'm like, this is spooky. I'm here for it. But if it's a weekday, I'll still go out. I'll still go to bars and still do that kind of thing. But definitely go in a little bit later. But if it was on a weekend, like it is this year, I'm like, I'm staying out all night, baby. I'm not going home till the sun comes up. And so hopefully that's how it is this year. We'll see how everything goes. I feel like it's going to be really weird. I'm just so used to people walking the streets of Los Angeles. I don't know if you've gone to the parade that happens in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I've done that one a few times since I've moved out here, and that one's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I did that when I first moved out here when I was like 21, and it was amazing. I had so much fun, but I also like, it's so funny because I love people, but I also hate them so much, and I don't like big crowds. And I think that people, when the numbers get too high, the IQ drops. So I'm very weary of like very large crowds like that, especially when there's drugs and alcohol involved, as there are in these situations because it's Halloween. So I would much more prefer to be like at someone's house. Like, give me a house party. Don't send me to a bar where people can wander off and then they go missing for a few hours and then they come back with like a different costume and they don't know why. Like, no, give me
$20. They're like, where did this come from? How did I get $20? It's like, I don't know. What'd you do? Like,
drinks on me tonight. Here's a hundo. Oh, baby, what did you do? I don't remember. Doesn't count. No, baby, no. So many mistakes are made on Halloween.
Yeah, the one thing I did last year that was like so much fun, and the year before, Halsey always throws a Halloween party. And she always like rents out this space in Los Angeles. I have food coming to me. Rents out this space in Los Angeles, and she like had Avril Lavigne perform. She performed, but it's like multiple rooms, and that was kind of one of like the bigger parties that I usually go to. But it feels safe. It's like I have a lot of friends there. I have a lot of people I know that are there. So I just like that it's an enclosed space. There was even like a Ferris wheel. Like it was like a full blown closed off carnival.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is it's closed off. Like there's, a guest list, there are people, and that's it. Like nobody has like some weird cousin that's showing up. Like there's not a guy just like at a bar, just like with a pocket full of roofies, like waiting to see, like play the odds. Like, no, it's not that. It's people that you know and people of people that you know. And that's the safest way to go. Oh, Hollywood, I will miss thee. But again, I mean, I don't feel like, I feel like LA has changed even in like the decade plus since I moved down. And I say decade plus, it's been, because I moved down initially when I was 20. And then I left when I was like 24. So right about the time that you are, or right about the age that you are. And it was even in that time it had changed. And then when I moved back, I was like, wow, things have calmed down, or I've calmed down and I'm not putting myself in those situations anymore because I have a bedtime.
Yeah.
Or I would much rather like be no bra, in my sweats, feet up, watching Netflix, talking Leigh Whannell with you, hanging out on the couch. Like,
yeah, I don't know what, like I used to freaking party when I moved out here. Like I would be going places 24/7. I'm not about that anymore. I'm like a chill bar person. Like the ones that have just like jazz music playing. Sometimes they have live music. That's the kind of thing that I like. Or yeah, just hanging out with friends at a house. Like even if like COVID didn't happen, I know I would be spending like so many nights at your guys' place. Yeah. Just watching movies with you guys. All of that. Like it was so much fun for Brandon's birthday when we all just got together at the end and watched, like, what was it? Annabelle Comes Home. Was that one or Animal Creation? I think
it was Comes Home. Yeah, it was Comes Home.
Okay.
Because we were yelling at the babysitter for not kicking out the friend. Like, what the fuck?
See, that's the kind of girl that I'm not. Even though I'm like risky and stuff with all this, I'll stay at the Stanley Hotel. I'll do all of that. I'm not pulling out a Ouija board. I'm not going to go try to get haunted. Like if you do that, you deserve it.
Right? Don't poke the bear.
Exactly.
Don't do it. But I mean, then again, you did request a certain room, didn't you, at the Overlook?
First of all, I didn't do anything because I was surprised. I didn't know that we were going to.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, so the royal you. Someone requested the room.
Yeah, it was the second most haunted room, and he got his worth, his experience.
He got felt up, yo.
Yeah. Yo, he hooked up with a ghost. Let's get that started.
Wasn't there a line from a scary movie? Can you get an STD from a ghost?
We actually, on the trip, later on at a different hotel, we were watching Girls Trip. And that scene with Tiffany Haddish where she's like, that ghost tried to F me. Don't go into that hotel. It's sketchy. I was like, that's cool.
Be like, shit, we were there too.
Yeah, I was like, literally same.
For sure. Yeah, when he told me that he made the reservations, I was like, don't you dare bring that ghost home because they will attach to you, and I do not put up with that shit. Like, no. I will be salting the windows and the doors. Like, we will be on lockdown. We're going to get some sage and burn that. Like, I don't play games. I've watched 15 seasons of Supernatural. That shit is not going to go down in my house.
Yeah, no, I saged this place. Also, I feel like that ghost was definitely attaching themselves to Brandon. Like, they had a thing for him, leaving me completely alone, only going after him. It's the hair, it's the charm, it's like all of it.
Fucking PLD with the win. Brandon and Tiffany, literally the same person. I can't unsee it now. Yes, Brandon deep down is a loud black female comedian. 100%. I mean, if you get him enough tequila, that's what he turns into. I'm completely lying. There's no amount of tequila that can make him turn into Tiffany Haddish. I've tried.
He's a chill drunk.
He is. He's just chill, which is
24/7.
Yeah. Until he's watching the debates with me and sitting here and we're both just like, what the fuck? I don't know. What sign is that? Is that Cancer?
He is a Libra. So if that's Libra, then yes. And if that's anything else, then no.
I'm like, I can't remember. I know I'm a Ram. What horoscope sign are you?
Virgo. And it makes sense.
Are you like solid Virgo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know all the other ones. I'm a little bit into this kind of stuff, but I don't know like rising. I'd have to look it up. I don't have the CoStar app anymore. But I am like to a T. If you read what a like Virgo is, I'm just like, damn, they know me.
You are. Yeah, I'm Aries, cusp Taurus, so I'm a fiery bullheaded bitch. Surprise.
But you have a heart of gold. At least for you. No, that's the thing is that you're like badass when you need to be. You know, in those moments, you know, like nobody can mess with you. Me, I'm just like, I'm chill. Like, just leave me alone. Like,
yeah.
Whatever.
See, I turn mama bear. Like, there have been some instances that have happened with you where I'm like, I'm going to fucking kill them and put their head on a pike, and you're like, it's fine. I'm like, no, it's fucking not. I'm gonna do this because you're my family, and I protect family, and I don't know if that's my horoscope or my heritage because I am Sicilian. I'm like, no, this shit is not okay. And it just gets to a level that I'm like,
But
blood is going to be spilled.
I love that because we have, and then Brandon's the opposite end. It's like, he's chill and he won't do anything. I'm in the middle where I'm just kind of like, yeah, that's annoying, but whatever. And then you're like mama bear. Like I'm here for everybody. Like you'll like stand up for whoever. And that's awesome.
Yeah. I'm like, come here and snuggle. And if someone fucks with you, I will bat their head off their shoulders. It's fine. And that extends. Like, I believe that family has a capital F, and love can have capital and lowercase L's, but family is family, and you don't fuck with my family, yo. Like, just don't fucking do it.
But that would be the same way for you. It's just like when you really care about people, like that comes out. But for you, you have that all the time, and I love it. Like nobody can mess with you.
No, which is so it's led to like this false sense of like invincibility. Like I like telling the story as an example. Like Warped Tour was in Detroit, like in the heart of downtown Detroit. Like we played the parking lot outside of Tiger Stadium. And then there was a nonprofit called Keep Abreast, which does work for breast cancer and like self-exams and stuff like that. They do amazing work. They always hosted a party, and their party that year was like 3 or 4 blocks north of the parking lot. So everybody's like, getting dressed up and like going to the party in groups. I walked back from the party by myself in like a tube top and a skirt, and by myself, very drunk, through like alleyways, and like nothing happened. And now I'm just like, well, nothing's gonna kill me. Like I'm fully, I think we've had this talk. I'm fully convinced that I'm gonna die by like slipping in the shower, or like crossing a street, or like choking on like a peanut or something. Like something small is gonna happen, and that's gonna be the way that I die. And I'm gonna be like, can somebody just lie?
Because you go through all these things. Like I remember you'll be like, oh, I'm going for a walk. And I'm like, damn, alone? Like I'm so not used to that kind of stuff. Like I'll like say to you so many times, I'm like, be safe, because I am not like that at all. I have friends that will go to bars on their own and they'll like hang out. I'm like, I just am so afraid of people in certain situations where I'm just like, and it sucks that we have to do that. It sucks that we have to like risk it and do the thing or be so afraid of doing the thing that we just don't do it. Like I can never just sit down after going to work, even like the bars that I'm very familiar with and that I trust. It's like, you never know. And that's just like being a woman in the world. And I love though, because you and Mackenzie remind me of each other. My roommate Mackenzie, for anyone who doesn't know, you guys are the same way. She's just like, I'm here and I'm like badass and I don't care. Like nobody can mess with me. And I wish I had that.
Mackenzie has skinny, crazy girl energy, and I have like, you can't kidnap me style. Like you're very kidnappable. You're tiny and light, and people like somebody can come along and pick you up. Like I don't even think that Michael Clark Duncan could kidnap me. Like, let's just be honest. And I've met him, and like my forehead, I literally physically ran into him. My forehead hit him square in the sternum, and I could still fight him off to get away if he tried to kidnap me. I could kidnap. Which is why I think when the first time I watched Silence of the Lambs, and they were like searching for size 14 girls, I was like, oh, fuck. Why? Why you gotta get mean on the fat girls? Like, come on, well, not fat, but like, you know, bigger girls. Like, I was just so upset. I was like, really? You're coming for me? All right, let's go, Buffalo Bill.
Yeah,
no,
like,
60. I got like 60 pounds on you. Let's go. I guarantee you're not making it to round 2.
Yeah, I'm just like, if somebody tried to kidnap me, I'm just like, like I'll try to fight back, but like, what am I supposed to do? Like, genuinely, that's the like hard thing about just doing all of this. Like you're talking about for Halloween, it's like we have to be safe 24/7 anywhere we go. So luckily I have my bodyguard, Brandon Hanna. He hasn't been put to use yet, but hopefully when the time comes, he can actually do something, or I'm going to call Rachel instead.
Damn straight. I mean, I will say this. It makes me feel like Gracie Hart from Miss Congeniality, but like literally the best form of self-defense you can do, aside from sing, is to drive the flat of your hand up into their nose, and it will break and like literally make them start crying, and they will instinctively let you go if they are holding on to you, because they will want to do this. And I hate to say it, but if you do it hard enough, you could fucking kill them. And you know what? Justifiable. Just saying.
100%. I mean, it's so funny because I don't know any of this kind of stuff. And
I'm sorry. Brandon, no. The best bodyguard is Kevin Costner. Just saying.
Don't say Kevin Costner in front of me, okay? I missed that question.
I'm sorry.
I'm like, ouch. All right, Rachel, fine.
I'm sorry.
But that's the thing. Dwayne, actually, when I moved to a different apartment, somebody's being so loud upstairs. Okay.
Go ahead.
Dwayne bought me friggin' pepper spray and a taser. So I have both now. I don't know what to do when the time comes, but we'll see. All right, guys.
Hopefully that won't ever be put to the test, because then I'll have to go to jail for first-degree murder, because it will be plotted and it will be thought out very carefully. Wait, what's going on? PLD, what am I missing? Oh, yes, PLD is my live event husband. And I am married to Bedore as well. She is my wifey. This whole world is just very incestuous. Everybody is involved with everybody, whether platonically or romantically, and we it's nothing but love. And Brandon Hanna, how dare you? You know what? Can I ban him for like 5 minutes? Can I put him on timeout? I don't know.
No, don't do that, because then he's just gonna hop in on screen, and we can't.
I know.
Life.
He'll get back for me for all of those times when we first started living together that I would like literally ambush him and like hug him on screen. He's old. I can take him. I mean, he's old and I'd still like to take him.
Hey.
Actually, that leads me down to something that Brandon would rather us not talk about. But you and I have talked at length about our hall passes, both male and female. Now I think that we are very similar in our men, but we are very different with our women. Because they're very like, I'm like, oh my God, Janet Jackson and Charlize Theron, like give me big, tall, beautiful women. And you're like, I like them small and petite and pretty. And I'm like, no, I can't be with a pretty girl. It makes me too close.
So I'm the same way, actually. Like, well, I don't know. It's a little bit different. I don't like the full, like, I love Megan Fox. She's like the exception for that type. Also, like Zoe Kravitz. Okay, damn, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right about my type. All right.
We got it. I mean, yes. I'm going to avoid this topic because I know Brandon's like, shut the fuck up. But you and I have had this conversation many, many times. I'm actually curious, guys, in the chat, who is your number one on your list? Because I know my male number one is, and you can be period specific. I'm not going to lie, because mine is very period specific. Mine is Brendan Fraser, 1999, when he's Rick in The Mummy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. My number one is so difficult, and I feel like it changes every day. I have a top three, so I'll just really quickly go through those. Andrew Garfield. This is men. Andrew Garfield, Harry Styles, Bill Hader.
Oh, Bill Hader.
Mm-hmm. And then Cate Blanchett is also my number one.
Well, I mean, I think that she's just a pass. I'm sorry. My mom just came in with the sweetest burn ever. You're cute, Brandon, but for Kevin Costner, sorry. I love you, Mommy. Mom's the best. Oh, I don't know if you know, but I did come down bearing brownies from Mama Silvestrini. Yeah, there's half a dozen sitting on the counter waiting for you guys.
That is so dangerous for me. Just
saying. But yeah, so they'll be waiting here for you on Saturday when you come over. Yeah, I can't even remember where I was going after this because I just got completely segued by Mom. Ed, yes, PLD, Ed Harris is 100%. I think that there is definitely like a separate list for like the older generation because Ed Harris, Kevin Costner, Helen Mirren. Like, what the fuck?
She is
seriously?
Jane Fonda.
Yes.
Jane Fonda.
I mean, to be fair, I just want to hang out with Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin because they've been heroes of mine for my entire life. Thank you, Mom, for showing me who they were. And then I found out like what badasses they were and like how many like have you watched that documentary on Netflix about Jane Fonda and like how many times she's like gone to jail for like fighting for women's rights?
I haven't seen that one, but I've seen a lot of her activism. I absolutely adore the person that she is. I know if you've seen the Trial of Chicago 7 that dropped on Netflix, I think last week, she actually was married to like one of the main characters in the Trial of Chicago 7, like Tom Hayden, who Eddie Redmayne plays. She was married to him, and I know a lot of like just her activism throughout her career, which I think is so badass.
Yeah. Like she's always been one of those people that has used their platform to like speak out and like you can't respect that enough. Like it can't be brought to the forefront enough. But also just I love the fact like first of all, I grew up loving these two women, Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda, but also when I found out that the scene that they do in, was it Grace and Frankie, where they're on peyote on the beach, they were actually on peyote on the beach because in Jane's words, we're in our 70s. What the fuck are they going to do to us?
That's incredible.
Right? I'm like, seriously, that is hashtag goals. Like, I cannot wait to be that old.
I haven't seen that show yet, but now I'm gonna have to check it out just for that.
Oh my God. It's so good. It's so funny. It's literally the first episode comes out where their husbands are lawyers together and they come out as being gay and lovers and they want to get married because the bill just got passed.
Okay, so I've heard about that, and then I've heard about like vibrators and like all the kind of stuff added into it, and I'm like, I need to watch that. Like,
yeah, you do.
I know I have to. I know they like smoke weed and just like do all that shit. I just love, oh my God, can we give a special like shout out to all of that? I love seeing women be just like absolute, the way that we actually are, like
humans,
gross and everything. Like Fleabag is another good example of another one. I love that shit. Trainwreck with Amy Schumer. Like Any of those examples of women just being who they are, I'm here for.
Yeah, being complete messes and like having that be okay, and like not everything has to be pretty all the time. Like, I mean, you know that if you watch my show. But like, yeah, I mean, we're real people when we, you know, do drugs and get drunk and fuck up and come back and have redeeming qualities, and we're mothers and sisters, but we're also like rock stars and CEOs and drug addicts and like everything like that. We are the span of humanity. We're not just like these whores or Madonnas. Like we don't fit into these boxes. And I love every show that like busts that out and like shows you a different side and be like, no, she can be like this because she has a heartbeat. Like there's no other reason why she should be judged other than she has a heartbeat. And yes, Chris Taylor, Jane Fonda did stab a bitch because she's the best.
Did she actually?
Sorry, my mom has a say. Yes, I know that Tom Selleck is on your list, and I approve of this, and I will call him dad 100%. He has, I believe, an avocado farm in San Diego, which makes it even better because y'all know how much I love fucking avocados. Yeah, no, I remember growing up, my mom had her closet had like a dressing room area, which she turned into like a sewing room area, and like to the left of her sewing machine is this poster of a young Tom Selleck, like maybe in like his early 30s, playing tennis, just like sweaty, shirtless. He had like the 70s fur all over his chest, and I just remember looking at that and be like, yeah, I get it.
Men are always at their prime in like their early 30s. Is that something that I just feel like I've noticed this like early 30s or even like 40s? Like maybe I'm just a huge fan of like the like silver, like that kind of like
the salt and pepper, like right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's I mean, I think that men start. I'm pretty sure this is true, that men start actually like solidifying into their like basically their emotions and have like a firmer grip on them in their like starting in their 30s and like settling into them as like full adults, whereas like their 20s are very like teenager like, whereas women develop much earlier and, you know, have those pressures faced on us. But yeah, dude, men in their 40s, I've always been like, yeah. And yes, BC, my mom did mean Grace and Frankie. She said Frankie and Johnny. Frankie and Johnny is a very different thing, Mom. But I love you. Yeah, no, I got my mom hooked on Grace and Frankie, and it's so good. Like watching my mom laugh is one of the most amazing things. Like you think that I laugh loud and like boisterous, I got that from my mom. Like both my parents have like these big laughs. I used to take her to go see Melissa. Oh my God, what's her name? I was like, Melissa Etheridge. That's not it. Like she's a comedian. Her husband is always involved in her movies. She was in The Heat and Bridesmaids. McCarthy. So there was like a 3 or 4 year span that like I would come home and like Melissa McCarthy would have a movie out, and I would take my mom, and like I took her to go see Heat, and she fell out of her chair laughing. Like it's just the best. It's so much fun to make her laugh.
That's how my mom was. We actually saw a girls trip together, and we're just letting her ass off because like we grew up. I've talked about this a bit, but like I mean, my mom was 19 when she had me, so she's what 43 right now. Like her birthday's a few days after mine. So we grew up as like best friends, basically. Is like how that was like my entire childhood. It was like we didn't hide anything from each other or anything. So we could go see Girls Trip when I was growing up. We could watch all those kind of movies, and there was never anything like awkward or uncomfortable because it just like our relationship was so strong. So we saw Girls Trip and we just like laugh our asses off. Like we're friends. Like we just like sit there. Me and her have gone on trips to like New York, San Francisco, and we just go out to bars and like hang out. Like it was just one of those things like where I love having those experiences of going back home, going to see a movie, going to bars with our moms. Like those relationships get even better as we like get older, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you like, I don't know, because I was never like the black sheep of the family. Like I was, you know, I have 2 sisters, one older, one younger. My older sister, I would always call the princess. I was the good one. My little sister is the demon child. Incredibly accurate. Like I was always like, neither of my sisters stayed in high school for all 4 years. Like my older sister took advantage of a junior college program that we had, and like her senior year she went there and like finished her entire senior year in the first half of the year, and then took college courses. Still graduated on time. My little sister, I think she ended up getting her GED, like dropping out, but she got her GED. And like I was all 4 years of high school. I was a part of the cheerleading team. Like I was very active in social issues and like working full time. But like my mom and I have always had a really great relationship. And so like there's constantly like we're so alike, we butt heads. But like it's one of those things that like I went to go home for Christmas from tour one year, and I was talking to my mom, and she's like, yeah, I don't think we're gonna set up the tree. I'm like, if you don't set up the tree or you don't let me set up the tree, I'm not coming home. Because there's no use. Like Christmas is our holiday. We go fucking all out. Like when I was little, I was for Christmas elf. And I was like, yeah, I'm like, if we don't set up a tree, I'll just go wherever I want and stay there because it's the same thing. Like there's lack of Christmas decor. Like I'll just stay in a hotel room. It's fine. It's the same difference.
A tree. You
always have to have a tree.
I want to have a tree in this new apartment. Like I've never gone to Los Angeles and had like a actual big like real tree. It's not gonna be huge or anything, but I've always just had like tiny little like shelf ones, like something you could put in your like your kitchen or whatever. I'm
like
actually
Charlie Brown trees. Yeah.
And I'm gonna have like an actual legit one, not like a live tree, but just like a semi-tall one. I want to put little ornaments up, and like it really does, especially because I don't know what's gonna happen. Like I don't know if I'm gonna be able to fly home for Christmas. Like who knows? And so I might make this be as homey as possible. And that really does add to it. The entire process of putting up the tree. I have so many Christmas vinyl. Like I have like, what is it? She and Him is the Zoe Deschanel.
I love that album. It's so fucking sweet. Mm-hmm. As coked out as she was when she recorded that, I don't care. It's girl. You don't have that amount of energy and stay that skinny for that long without a little help. Let's be honest.
No, baby girl, let's go.
Oh no, I love her. Don't get me wrong. I love the New Girl. New Girl is one of my favorite shows of all time. I have been to that numerous times, but like, yeah. What are your other favorite Christmas albums?
I have the Bright Eyes vinyl too. So the Bright Eyes Christmas album, I love Bright Eyes. I have that one. Sufjan Stevens has like this huge vinyl box set that I think is like $120. And that's been my goal every single year. Unfortunately, have not gotten it yet. One day.
Wait, are you a fan?
I kind of like Sufjan, and not too much. Like he's okay, I guess. And for anyone who pick this up.
If he's on, I'll listen to him. But
I mean, I totally don't spend at least 6 hours every single day playing him in the background while I'm going through my daily tasks. Like that totally doesn't happen.
No, it's more like 19. Have you ever heard? Because I grew up with the John Denver and the Muppets album, and it is. If you haven't heard it, I think I have it on CD or like on my hard drive. So when you come over for Halloween, I have to give it to you. Like, it is so fucking funny. It's so good. Yeah, I mean, there's always like my dad would always play like the Mario Lanza. He was an Italian kind of opera singer back in the day, and like that is just like ingrained in my brain. And then you can't go wrong with like Bing Crosby and. Yeah. Like it's just shit like that. It makes you so happy, and like just makes you think of cold weather and like getting into like fleece anything and snuggling down and watching movies and like watching the frost outside the window. I mean, not in LA, but
Yeah, not over here. But when I go home, it's so funny since I'm from Chicago. When I normally go home, I'll leave here and it's like 70 something degrees. I land in Chicago always at night and it's like -20 wind chill and shit like that. And I'm like, oh, I don't own a jacket here because there's no point.
Yeah. Oh, real quick. Good night, Jeremiah. He's one of my drinking buddies on my Patreon. I love you. You're the best. I mean, I have more winter clothes than I think almost any Californian has, because I was traveling for so many years that like we spent 3 weeks in Alaska in January.
Yeah.
Like a warm day was 8 degrees.
That I remember when I was in Chicago, and I remember my senior year of high school that winter. I was like, this is my last one. Just get through it, girl. It's your last one. You're never going to be back again in the winter.
Never again.
Tiny little pockets of a week. Okay, I could do that. But never, ever again. It's really funny because every single time I hear Little Drummer Boy, that's my dad's favorite song, and he plays it on repeat. So it just makes me think of him. He loves Jacobo Ramirez, Jacob Ramirez. Everyone that if you're watching this tonight, this is for you. Shout out. Actually, I'm done.
Brandon, you're slacking. I said halfway down, you go get a refill.
There's a little bit left.
Oh my God. That just means one sip, which means there should be a replacement on hand.
But Jacob,
I'm sorry. I tried to train him before I handed him over. I tried.
It's okay. He he's doing it. But yeah, my dad absolutely loves that song. He plays it on repeat. I've heard that song a million times since I've been growing up. So I'm really excited. If I get to go home this year, they're actually going to wait for the Christmas tree and to do all of that for when I get home. So in my ear, hopefully that's going to be the case. Who knows?
Who knows? But fingers crossed, because that shit has to happen. Okay, now I know we have to touch on this at some point. Schmodown.
Yes.
How you feeling about it? Because you've had a few matches, and season's coming to a close, and free agency is a thing. So, have any thoughts?
Yeah. So obviously, this year's been like a whirlwind, and I remember before the draft and the awards happened, Christian was like, do you want to be a part of this? And at the time, I just didn't know if I had enough, like, for like, it's a lot to commit to. So at the time, I just didn't know. I was like, I don't think so. So I don't want to say yes and then not actually show up when I had to. And I really regretted it. Like, I really just, at the time when I would go to the tapings, I'd see you, I'd see Brandon. That's like where we all ended up meeting, basically. And I really regretted not being a part of it. So then for the free agency, I was really excited. And this season has just been kind of hard because the only match I've done is virtual. And it's just hard not to be there with your faction. I feel like that's one of the most exciting parts about everything that's happening right now. So obviously going forward in the future, damn, who the hell knows? So much, stuff is just happening. What has premiered? So Adam and Jeff already premiered, right?
They did. It premiered today. So guys, spoiler warning, if you have not watched the match or don't know how it ends, we will wave our hands when it is done, when we are done talking about it, so you can mute us. But we'll let you know. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, spoilers.
Damn.
Jesus fucking Christ.
What the hell? What?
Seriously?
Mm-mm.
Sweep.
Sweep. I don't believe that he is like, that is awesome. That is literally what I aspire to be. That is so cool. He just absolutely dominated, just completely dominated, and was so chill the entire time. Yeah. Just literally like, yeah, okay, these are the answers. What's up, guys? Hey, I'm here. I'm doing my thing. No, didn't even break his sweat. I was nervous as hell because like virtual and just being in the house by myself, it was like difficult for me to get into that mindset. But him, he's vibing.
Nothing. He's totally fine. Totally fine. Yeah.
He would like KO me after like 7 questions. Like, let's be real. Like, no.
I mean, well, see, here's my idea is that here's my belief is that it is very true that even the best competitor on their worst day can be beaten by the worst competitor on their best day. Like I know, depending on the wheel, that I could take out Ethan.
I believe you.
Like, that is a possibility. My record does not reflect that, but I know for a fact that there are like 3 slices that I could put on that if he spun those and I spun a strength, oh my God, it's over. Like, done.
Yeah. Well,
So
that's
it's an interesting thing, but like Jesus Christ, that is like fucking Collins is so impressive, and terrifying. Did I say terrifying? I can speak. Yay, whiskey.
intimidating how relaxed he is. That is what kills me. If I was there and I was sitting there and I was up against him, I would be the exact opposite, and he'd be so relaxed that it would freak me out. And he's just cool, calm, and collected. Like that's the biggest thing where that's something that I need to work on because I was not cool, calm, or collected. And obviously that had to do with a lot of my situation. I found out I was doing it like 2 days before I did it. So like it was just like hard. It's really, really hard to get yourself to that certain mindset. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, but I'm really excited for the future. I'm excited for whatever happens. I cannot believe just being a witness to everything that's happened in the singles. I'm so excited for the teams tournament. Obviously, oh boy.
Don't go rooting across factions. Don't do that.
Yeah, I know. I want you to lose. You're evil. Go away.
Boo. No, I mean it's definitely interesting because like a lot of players have like made their debut while we've been doing the digital matches, and it will be very interesting to see, and have been doing well like with digital matches. It will be very interesting to see how they respond in front of a crowd at the studio, because no matter how many people show up or don't show up, there are people 7 feet from you that are staring at you that you feel, and you feel the heat of the lights. Like it will be very interesting to see if like that change of venue affects them whenever we get back into a studio. Hopefully soon, I pray to God.
I have no idea because I haven't been in a situation where I was a competitor in studio, but when I was in studio, I was like feeling that energy from everybody else. And I feel like that's somewhere where I would kind of thrive because I'm a person who loves attention. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, aren't we all like that's why we do what we do? Because I want validate me.
Validate me, root for me. No, but it's just I love feeling that palpable energy. Even doing like the meaning of and First Cut Live and stuff like that virtually has been a huge, and SEN of course, because there's so many of us in one room together, and we're all just bouncing back and forth. And just virtual has been a change. It's something we have to adapt to because that's our only option right now. And it's still really fun, but I miss feeling that energy in person. Like there is a certain feeling, and I think that I would kind of like maybe thrive on that in studio. So who knows, next year, whenever we can or whatever, it's something that I'm really excited about.
Yeah, it's always been something that I've looked forward to because like it's one thing to know to like have people in your corner and like know that they're there for you, but it's completely different being able to like look out into the crowd between rounds and like see friends that are in the crowd that are just like breathe. Like I did that for Brandon for his first matches. Like I did that for Kevin for his first matches. Like, you become like a touchstone, and like you have those people that you look to be like, you need to breathe, like calm down, take your time. And like literally just seeing their faces and knowing that they are physically there for you, like it changes so much. So it'll be really interesting to see if that will help the bad players. I speak for myself, or like discourage the good players, or maybe it brings the really good players to like a fucking height that scares the rest of us. You never
any for him better. Like,
yeah.
Anyways, so I think we're done with spoilers. What do we have to waive?
Yeah, we're done, guys. We're done. You guys can come on back if you want to not talk about spoilers. We're not talking about spoilers anymore. Now, I know we only have you for a little bit more, but you and I have a very deep shared love for early 2000s pop punk. That was like one of the things that like as soon as I found that out about you, I'm like, oh, we're gonna be good friends. Like this is gonna be fun. Like Like, oh, hello, or hello, goodbye lyrics? Okay, cool. Like, you went to Warped Tour? Awesome. This is amazing.
I love us just like bouncing back and forth from like you telling these stories and be like, oh, I worked this, whatever. And I'm like, I went here. I'm like, Warped Tour was when I was in like 5th grade or something. Like, I don't think anybody knows this about me, but I grew up like, I think it's hilarious now. I just grew up super scene and emo and everything. Like, I was like full like haircut, MySpace selfie type of situation. And like the crazy eyeliner, I had like feathers in my hair. I had like the striped, like, I forgot what it was called, like raccoon tail highlights, like peekaboo highlights.
Yep,
and
stripes all the way down, that one strip.
Yep, just the one strip. And like that was, I feel like it builds character, Rachel, and I know you agree.
I agree to a point, because if you don't learn from your mistakes,
that's where it's important.
Then that's where the issue is. Now, what were you? So you have been to Warped Tour. What were the years that you got to go?
Ooh, oh my God. I would say, when was I in 5th grade?
Oh, that makes me feel so old, guys. Just so you know, I'd say a good 60% of our conversations end up with me being like, just shut the fuck up. Like, it makes me feel old. Like, stop talking. Because I am like, what, 12 years, 14 years older than you.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is that like,
yeah,
it'll be really funny when I wake up in the morning and I'm like making coffee at the place and like we're all just like chilling around and I'll just like say something and you're like, all right, no, too early, shut up. And then I need to just go. So I'll be like, oh yeah, I think I was like, I don't know, like in 5th grade when that came out. But
and I'm like, my body was already starting to break down. Give me my coffee and I'm gonna go back to my cave. Fuck off, children in your young bodies and hope.
I'm like, I feel myself withering away as time goes on. I'm in the spring of my life and all I do is sit on this couch. So I'm not winning here at all. But I believe it was like 2008 or 2009.
Oh my God. Thrawn literally was like 2008. Love you, buddy.
Yeah, I believe. Well, I went like almost every single year from like 5th grade to the end of high school. And then after I left for college, I never went because there's not any like around Los Angeles. They're all pretty far away. Well,
we used to do, there was, what year was it? Because I have no memory for years, as you all know if you've watched my matches. Oh my God. We have done shows in LA. Like we literally were in Dodger Stadium parking lot one year. Yeah, I think it was the 20th year, so it would have been 2015, I think. I think it was 2014 or 15, or 13, somewhere. But we were at Dodger Stadium, and I remember being there, and we would always be in Pomona, and then we'd be in Ventura, which Ventura is like one of the best locations to do Warped Tour. It is so beautiful. We're like across like a tiny little street to the beach, and then like you go down like a sandhill and like the beach is right there.
There's like a college over there, right? Like Cal Poly Pomona. It's by like Santa Barbara.
Yeah. Okay, so there's no, Pepperdine. Pepperdine is in Malibu. And then Ventura, I can't remember if there's a university there, but there is like a hotel like a block and a half away from the venue, and like I never went to any of those parties because it was all very like fan based, and I was like, I don't want to deal with people. That's terrible. Yeah. And like, I mean, like I said, I hate people. But like I remember, like Pomona and Ventura led to like some of the most amazingly beautiful photos that I've gotten after Warped Tour of like Bus City and like the parking lots and like the sun setting behind it and like string lights like going across. It's just like there were so many amazing memories. Like I remember in Ventura, I got to harass Matthew Lillard.
Oh my God! What a thing!
I was working for. I was an MC for AT&T. We were presenting sponsor, and in Ventura, we got there late for some reason, and so we got like a really shitty spot. So we were like if the main stages were here and like it went out this way, we were in like the back corner. So like nobody would come back towards us, but it was also near where catering and like the backstage like press area was. So like people would come in and out through there. So they'd be passing by. So we'd be talking to like everybody who worked on the tour and guests and stuff, but like not actual kids. And so Matthew Lillard was in this movie that was produced by Kevin Lyman called Endless Bummer. It also has Emil Hirsch. Yeah, Emil Hirsch is in it. He plays the lead. And Matthew Lillard plays like, so the idea is that this kid is a surfer from the valley, and he goes over the hill to the beach, and some guy steals his board. And he has to try and like track it down and find it. And it's like, it's kind of like, yeah. But like Matthew Lillard plays like this beach bum, this older like kind of hippie guy who's married and like hand makes these beautiful surfboards, and he's just like this cool chill dude that like is like the wise man for the kids, you know. And it takes place in like the late 80s, early 90s, and he was there promoting it because they were doing a screening, and he went to walk by, and I was like, hey, Matt, like I'm on the mic yelling at him. Not, well, I mean, you know me, talking, but yelling to other people because they're sensitive. And I was like, hey, Matt, you want to come do a video with me? It's like 30 seconds. He goes, nah. And I go, but your mom and dad are going to be so mad at you. And he stops dead in his tracks, turns around, and he goes, did you just? I'm like, oh, yeah, I just. Like, you bet your ass I just. And he, like, came back, and, like, we hung out for a few minutes. Like, totally cool dude. But, like I met Joe Magliano there because he's a really big fan of Goldfinger. And he came out to see them. And this was, like, God, what year was this? It had to be, like, 2009, I think, because I don't think I was on the – it was, like, 2010 or 11 because I wasn't on the tour, but I was just there to visit. And I had this like, I have this photo album that you've seen of all my old concerts and stuff. Back when like Fall Out Boy was opening for Armor for Sleep, and there were 11 people there to watch them. And I have these pictures of Mest, and they had just gone on, and Goldfinger was on next, or vice versa. No, Goldfinger just ended, and Mest was on next. And Joe Magliano was standing backstage, and this is like during the height of True Blood, like girls were lined up against the chain link fence being like, oh my God, it's Joe, or whatever his character's name was. And I like walked up to him after his like 20-year-old model girlfriend at the time, like went to the bathroom, and we're chatting, and I was like, you know what, dude, like I love, like, I'm so excited for you. Like your career is blooming, and like, you're so funny and so good. And he's like, oh, you're a True Blood fan. I'm like, no, dude, I loved you as bartender Brad on How I Met Your Mother. And he was like, are you serious? And I'm like, dude, you're so underutilized. Like your comedic timing is so good. Like you in the background of every scene is like a scene stealer. When we start talking, his girlfriend comes back acting super possessive, and it's Warped Tour, and she looks like you after like you just come out of the room like showered and like makeup, and I looked like I had been at Warped Tour all day, sweaty, disgusting, whatever. I look like a troll, and I'm talking to her, and she's like looking at me like I'm trying to poach her man. I'm like, oh, girl, calm down. I'm like, look at you and look at me, and I'm like, by the way, we've all seen him naked. High five, congratulations. And he just starts blushing, and then we end up drinking tequila on Goldfinger's bus together and passing a bottle back and forth. So yes, Warped Tour has led to some amazing fucking moments.
Yeah, I absolutely love that you mentioned like Fall Out Boy and everything. That was my favorite freaking band. I have a Fall Out Boy tattoo. That was my first tattoo I got when I was like 15 or 16 years old. I wouldn't recommend getting tattoos when you're 15, 16 years old.
Don't do that, guys. Think about it until you're 18 and can legally get it at a licensed place that has like, you know, the sterilization. Like just make sure.
Yeah, but like I said, I was just like super like emo, and I was super like, oh my God, I'm punk. Oh my God, I'm scene. I'm all of that kind of stuff. So when I was like, I think I was 13 or 14, I pierced my own nose, and I still have it to this day. So it worked out. Again, don't do that.
It doesn't always, because sometimes it rots and then you have a very large hole in your nose and your nostril can fall off. It's real. Fucking don't do it.
Yeah, luckily my parents were very, very chill, and I actually paid an older friend and I got like a hollowed needle that they actually have at tattoo parlors. So I did that entire process, but just myself. But like my dad came down into the basement and he was like, all right, yep, self-expression. I'm going to let you do your thing. Whatever. I'm just going to go upstairs and pretend I didn't see anything because I'm just like bleeding down my face. And the same thing with my mom, because she was a hairdresser, anything I asked her to do, she'd be like, yeah, cool. Cause you're kind of like my little like test bunny. Like just, you want to do like an entire head of pink hair when you're like 13 years old. Sure. I'll dye it all, like whatever. So it was really cool that I had them and I could kind of just do whatever I want. Like I pierced my own like septum at one point. That was like, that's a mistake. Don't do that.
Oh, guys. Wow.
Yeah, I was like fearless. Like I almost missed the person that I was until I was like 17 years old because I was just not afraid of anything. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Like nothing matters. Like I'm just chilling. I'm ready for the music. So
I miss 19-year-old me. Like I do. I owe her so much. Like she was so fearless and like had no like not like no cares or no worries, but it was just like there was such a drive and a fearlessness to her that like now I'm like, oh, I can't do that because I will literally like crush my pelvis and die. So maybe I shouldn't do that. And like she was like, no, we're gonna fucking do that.
That was the same thing. Like I could not even imagine piercing my own ears or anything like that. Like me and my friends would just do all that kind of like stupid shit all the time and like not worry about any of that, not worry about any consequences at all. So that was just like a fun aspect. But I started loving Fall Out Boy. I think I was I was like 5. I was like 5 years old. My first like memory was me loving Fall Out Boy, me loving Green Day. American Idiot was like one of my favorite albums until Carrie and Lowell by Sufjan Stevens came out in 2015. Now I'm like, that's number 1 forever. Nothing is topping that. But yeah, my aunt was actually a bartender because Fall Out Boy's from like the north side of Chicago, like the north suburbs of Chicago. So my aunt was a bartender at the time and they had actually performed at like a really small venue that she was bartending at. And she like came home with a CD and it was Take This to Your Grave. And at the time she lived with us too. So she showed me that album and I was a baby. Like I was literally so small and that's like all I listened to. She kind of changed a lot of my taste when it came to like music and film and everything. She got me into horror films. So that's why I was watching like Texas Chainsaw Massacre when I was like 8 years old and just things like that. And it was nothing to me. Like I was just like, yeah, cool movie. Like I love to be scared. And yeah, so she showed me Green Day. She showed me Fall Out Boy, all of that kind of stuff when I was younger. And it just like kept going on. Like I just kept listening to all her CDs and everything. And so like I really owe a lot of that to her. And she was like a big Warped Tour person. And I think Warped Tour ended when I was actually like a senior in high school, or I was like a freshman in high school.
Oh God.
I can't.
No, please don't say that because it makes my heart so incredibly fucking sad, and that's not true. Warped Tour ended in 17 was the last year of Warped Tour because it was such like have you noticed things in your life being cyclical or like coming back around and it's very like circular and like, your life references itself all the time. And so I got my first, Warped Tour is my first full US tour that I ever worked on. And because I worked on Warped Tour, my first year on Warped Tour, I was hired by Kevin Lyman himself. And it was such an incredible situation and I worked so hard and I made such a good impression that I was asked back with the same stipulations like for the next 3 years. And then the 4th year came and I got an email from Kevin before I could email him because I'm always like, I know Warped Tour starts in June, but I'm going to fucking email you in February. Be like, hey, I'm so excited for this year. Like, don't forget about me. And he emailed me before I could email him and was like, we've been going over the numbers, and I don't think there's any way that we can have you out this year. I'm so sorry, but like, if you can find somebody who could sponsor you for your bus spot, because he was paying for my bus spot, which is like, I don't know if you know, but that's 15 fucking grand.
Yeah.
One bus spot for the entire summer with catering is $15,000 to $18,000 for one person. And a tour bus like that for production holds 18 people, 16 to 18 people. And so it was one of those things that like, he was literally putting up this money for me to be on tour, and then wasn't paying me, but let me keep everything I made because I was a massage therapist. And it was like the most amazing situation. And he was so lovely. And like, he would come in to get a massage every now and then, and he would try and pay me, and I would have to be like, get the fuck out of my tent. Like, no, no, like, Kevin, no, stop it. Put that away. Money, just to be clear. Money. And so it was like this amazing thing. And I did so many years, and I made so many contacts that like, I was able to like start touring full time. And then I got my job with Disney, and that led into being American Paris. And like, I literally lived on the road because of the chance that he took on me. And so the last year that I spent on tour with an American in Paris, let's see, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. It was 18. It was 2018. Was the year that I decided that I was going to retire from the road. And that was the last year of Warped Tour. And it happened to be that I flew from my last date to, it was the 3rd of July in St. Louis. And I went to that date, and I got to tell Kevin, I was like, this is so incredibly like kismet. And like, we had a really great talk, and I told him like how much like he has affected my life and everybody else's. And it just got really super emotional, and I cried because I'm a crybaby. You've seen it. But like, it's just, it was so important to so many people's lives, and it led to so many amazing things. Like, one of the stage managers, Kenny, did you ever watch Warped Roadies on Fuse?
Probably.
It was a show literally made to like, it was like a reality TV show that like followed the roadies and like the setup crew on Warped Tour, who are all like very, very close, dear friends of mine. And Kenny is a stage manager who had been in jail for like murder and drug trafficking and stuff like that. And he got out and like cleaned himself up and was like, he's a really, really fucking good person. And like, because Kevin took a shot on him, he was like a tour manager, like a stage manager for like Garth Brooks and shit like that, like big fucking acts, because Kevin gave him the start on Warped Tour, and that's what Kevin Lambton did. And it's just one of these amazingly beautiful, like wonderful stories of redemption. And like, oh, you're a misfit. Like, Warped Tour was the island of misfit toys, and we all got to play there for a very long time. And it got to the point where we all got a little old, and we got some holes in our seams. And I hope it comes back, because I don't think anything could be more thrilling after all of this ends than a Warped Tour announcement.
Imagine. Like
that's
exactly it. Well, like exactly everything that you said. I mean, as somebody who I had no part of actually like in this thing, but it makes it feel like this huge community where everybody's just sitting there and everybody's having a good time. Everyone's listening to the music. We all just walk around. It's like a festival where it's just one type of genre, basically. Obviously, we have like the subgenres of like a little bit more electronic. There's some like, but it's the one. It's different from like Lollapalooza, where we have like R&B and rap, and we have electronic, and we have like the indie alternative music, all kind of on these different stages, but what stage is what. Warped Tour is like one type of scene. If like, there's so many people. Like, A Day to Remember I've seen in concert like 1,000 times, but my favorite show was at a Warped Tour. It was like sunset, like they were the last act. It was beautiful. And it's freaking incredible. Mayday Parade, Real Friends. There was times where I was like side stage for a lot of bands that I just freaking loved so much. And so I remember when I was growing up, like I couldn't wait to be able to go to Warped Tour. And my dad was like, all right, I have to go with you, whatever. Cause of course I'm like 11 or 12 at the time. And so he's like, I have to come with. And I'm like, yeah, sure. That's fine. And like my parents finally let me when I was in 5th grade. And from that point on, I went every single year, and it just completely changed my life. And I feel like it was so pivotal for like the scene too. It was so important. We've had people like Blink-182 perform at Warped Tour like back in the day.
Yeah.
And then now it's like Pierce the Veil, All Time Low. These are people that are like going past the scene and
I'm sorry, they're just my babies. It makes me so happy.
Oh my God. I forgot, I think it was called like House Party Tour or something like that. It was A Day to Remember, Pierce the Veil, All Time Low, I think.
Was it the Spring Break Tour?
Spring Break Tour, and then
because
another one.
Because I actually that was when Pierce the Veil and All Time Low were co-headlining and like switching off who was closing off the show. I actually surprised them because like All Time Low are my babies. Like I emceed their signings and stuff when I was working for AT&T, and like they're just sweet boys. And Pierce the Veil are like really good friends. And so like I was in I flew in to San Jose like 2 days before I realized that it was their tour ending show in San Francisco at the Fillmore. And so I just drove up, paid to park my car, and just walked in through the back door because I had done that so many fucking times before. That's the same door person there. They're like, oh, hey, what's up? Just walked right in, surprised the fuck out of them. And they did. If you have a chance when all of this starts off, I highly recommend going to the end of tour show because it's when the bands pull pranks on each other. And when All Time Low closed out the show. So when Pierce the Veil was on stage, All Time Low would slowly sneak on stage during their last song and would steal different parts of the drum kit. And just like slowly throughout the song, like there's the snare, there's the hi-hat, there's the tom, and like it just got down to the point where the drummer was just like hitting the like he was just like I have nothing else. Like he was just like his foot was just hitting nothing. Like that was it. He was just like back there like mimicking, and like he didn't have anything to hit. And then All Time Low came out, and they brought out All Time Low was on stage. Pierce the Veil came out with arms full of bottles of champagne to hand out to people because they were going to toast the end of the tour. I ended up with a bottle. And then during one of their last song, Pierce the Veil brings on a beer pong table and plays a game of beer pong while they're playing. Now, if you guys haven't seen All Time Low live, they're very animated on stage. So them playing around Pierce the Veil, playing beer pong on a small stage in San Francisco was like one of the fucking funniest things you could ever see. It was so much fun. Those are like my babies.
Who was the opener on the Spring Break Tour? Was that the one with Mayday Parade?
Maybe.
I went to both because the House Party Tour was the All Time Low Pierce the Veil, A Day to Remember, and that's when I met Vic. But I went also.
Sweet.
He's so sweet. Oh my God, Pierce the Veil. I would have so many Pierce the Veil and All Time Low tattoos right now if I continued getting tattoos. I'm so happy I didn't. I still love them, but I'm very happy that I didn't get the tattoos that I had planned.
Those scene girl tattoos. Yeah. They're a real thing.
I'm so happy. My one is like the Fall Out Boy one, and I'll cherish that forever. It's Infinity on High, and it was an album I loved so much. So I still to this day, I think I have it on vinyl over here, or it's in Chicago, but it's still one of those things that's like very dear to my heart. But I'm still very happy that I wasn't able to get all the tattoos that I wanted.
Yeah, we had my first year was 2000. My first full year was 2000. It was the 13th year, so it was 2006. And they were doing Friday the 13th tattoos because Oliver Peck. If anybody has ever watched Ink Masters, knows who Oliver Peck is. He's also the ex-husband of oh my God, what's her name? Kat Von D. And he's basically the reason that people get tattoos on Friday the 13th because he started that at his tattoo parlor in Texas. And he continued that on Warped Tour because there was a Friday the 13th and they had converted a trailer into a tattoo parlor and would just follow the tour around and park back by the buses and just be open for tattoos. And so on Friday the 13th, they did $13 tattoos, and I got to get mine like super late at night. And it was just one of the weirdest things. I was like, who? Because I remember earlier in the tour, I was like, who the fuck gets a tattoo on Warped Tour? You can't keep that thing clean. It's always dusty. You're sweating all the time. I'm like, this is insane. And then of course I get one on my foot. Which is like the cleanest
area.
Yeah, the cleanest area. I'm also not wearing anything other than flip-flops the entire summer. So yeah, that's super smart of me. Like, fucking me in my 20s.
No, that's insane though. I've gotten so many Friday the 13th tattoos like in Los Angeles just because it'll be like $20, $13 plus $7 tip. I'm like, oh, and that's a lot of the tattoos that I regret. So, you know, it's
really,
I don't actually regret anything.
Oh, I see. I use them like because I have over 250 hours of work on me, and so like I don't view anything as like a regret. It's like, oh my god, that's where I was at that point of my life. That's stupid and insane, and I love it. Like I have a collection of Friday the 13th tattoos on my right calf, and we actually have one coming up in November that I'm very excited about. I think I've had to miss the last like 2 Friday the 13th because either the parlors were packed and like I wasn't able to contact a friend early enough or whatever, but like I'm planning on getting another one in November, and I'm very excited for it.
Speaking of, I haven't even told anybody. A subscriber, Josh Moon, did 2 of my latest tattoos. My last I have a Picasso. Oh God, I can't show this one.
A Picasso dove.
A Picasso dove that he just did, and then I also have my dad's birth year, which is 1975. I have that on my arm, and so Josh Moon Tattoos on Instagram. He's absolutely awesome. I got it like 2.5, 3 weeks ago. Honestly, time doesn't exist anymore, so I don't even remember when. But semi-recently.
I'm sorry. Your dad was born in 1975?
Yes.
That's the year my ex-husband was born, and that makes me feel so old. Maybe on another show we'll talk about him when I'm really drunk.
Let's go anytime. My dad was 75. My mom was 77. So
I cannot say my mother's year because she is watching, and I love her. But we will be celebrating her birthday in February very, very loudly. So I expect to have a crazy fucking crowd in the chat for that. Just her birthday is February 7th. So make a note because you have nothing else to do, and I will be doing it that day. But yeah, I mean, so what was one of your favorite Warped Tour memories? Because like you were so young. And like I know that time of your life is so important when you grow up. Like it has so much to do with in shaping who you become and like what you learn and like who you are. So like knowing that, like what do you think is like one of the best things that happened to you at Warped Tour?
Oh my God. I think what it was is that I don't know if I'm assuming a lot of people had these experiences, but growing up with social media, I met groups of people that from all over the city that were just like into the same music because we'd all go to the same concerts. So when we were like queued up in line, we'd all kind of just like meet up. So every time I went to Warped Tour, every time we went to go see All Time Low or Pierce the Veil or anything like that, I would see people that went to different high schools that lived far away. Some people were like in the Chicago suburbs, even like really, really south of Chicago, which I think is cool. I'd be able to see people that I would have never connected with without the music. And every time we saw each other, it's like we've known each other our whole lives. We just all like lose ourselves in that. And so my biggest thing is just there was such a great lineup. Every single year, there was always a million people that I wanted to see. Sometimes I wouldn't be able to catch every single person. It's kind of prioritizing anytime there's like a festival. But just having that experience, when I watch All Time Low, there's a few songs, and I think I've seen All Time Low in concert like 12 times in my life. There's a few songs that I will always just like cry. Like I will always just like sit there and just be like,
oh my God, spell it. Which ones?
Okay, so like Therapy and Remembering Sunday were songs that like I freaking always lose it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how old I am. Like if I listen to that stuff, especially seeing it live, oh, it just like tugs at my heart in like every single direction. I love it so much. Same thing with Pierce the Veil. That entire like Collide with the Sky album, every song is so good. And PC saying LA, Chicago, everyone else. Chicago's number one, baby. Chicago's number one.
I mean, Chicago is amazing. I do love Chicago. One of my favorite memories of a concert in Chicago was I realized that Bayside was playing in Chicago on a night that I could take off. And like Bayside were, like I was there the summer, my first summer was 2006. And that was the year that Jack from Bayside met Jessie, his wife. That was also the summer that Jake from Mayday Parade met his wife, Jessica, who was on my bus. So I literally got to watch their love story develop from day one and watch them like start dating on Warped Tour, which fucking never happens. Like, guys, exception to the rule. Hardcore. But like watching that and then just getting to visit them in Chicago, and like we were friends for so long, and like they're just the best. Like it's yeah, there are still songs I think I went and saw. I had after a season of Beauty and the Beast ended, I went down to DC. I drove from Rhode Island. We ended the tour in Providence, drove down to DC to finish my other calf with my tattoo artist. And wait, no, I got my first calf tattoo. We were in Baltimore, drove down to DC to get it done. And then that night, don't fucking go to a show the night after you get your calf tattooed. It's not a good idea. And then drink. I was sitting in the balcony of the 930 Club in DC, which is just, if you get a chance, fucking go. That show is, that venue is legendary. And I went and saw The Used.
Yeah, oh my God.
And I sat at the rail of the balcony looking down on The Used as they sang songs of my early 20s and literally wept the entire show because you could see the emotion. And Bert can't hit some of those notes anymore.
I need to grab something. Sorry. Keep talking.
Right, you go grab that. But Bert can't hit. If anybody knows who The Used are, they are a hardcore band out of Provo, Utah. And Bert used to do a lot of drugs. He dated what's her face, Ozzy Osbourne's daughter for a while. And he got sober and he's doing so well now, but like he did so much damage to his vocal cords that he can't hit some of those high notes anymore. But like you can tell how much the songs mean to him, and like watching that and knowing the progression that he's gone through over the years of like from recording to like then, like I was just a fucking mama bear mess, like in the balcony, just like literally sobbing into my Jameson and gingers that the bartenders were kind enough to keep sending over because they knew I wasn't driving.
I have this picture from when I was 15.
Shut up!
Yeah, I totally forgot that I had it. So that's literally me when I was like 15 with like obviously Pete and Patrick and Andy, and it's just like it's so crazy to me. This moment was insane. Like my entire life built up to this. I have loved them since I was 5 years old. So for 10 years at this point. And I remember like when I finally reached the age that I could go to concerts, that's when they kind of went on their hiatus and they broke up. And then so once they went back, I was like, nah, I'm going to every single one. I always got front row. Like it was pit, but I would wait all day.
Oh yeah.
Pit. I have to pee. I'm just like, I don't care. I'm gonna just sit here. I'm here for Fall Out Boy. That's it. So that was like my favorite moment ever. We had a conversation and we just like talked about their music and how much it meant to me. But Fall Out Boy was one. Every single show, I would not believe that I was just sitting there watching them. Like I'm just like, this is like an out of body experience. And when Paramore opened up for them one of the tours, oh my God. Also, 1 second.
Secrets.
All right. I'm going to excuse myself. I'm going to get a replacement for the moment that I'm going to excuse myself.
Oh!
No.
Brandon Hanna, come on down. You're the next guest on Movies, Music, and Mayhem. Oh my God, your hair. You look like the guy from the Discovery Channel that talks about aliens.
Oh,
so pooped out.
This is
I say that.
than mine.
I say that with love.
Aliens.
Now you never went to Warped Tour, right?
No, never.
I mean, I'm gonna have you on the show eventually. Now that we don't live together, and it's like you're not gonna sit next to me and bug me while I ask you questions. But you never went to Warped Tour. What did you grow up listening to?
That's a good question. I was never really like, what? No, I'm not saying that. Don't listen to a word she says from the bathroom. No, I didn't really like, I wasn't like super into music growing up. Mostly just into movies, really. And then I just kind of like, yeah, music was never really like super like my thing. Like obviously like I like music. I'm not like a crazy person. But like I wasn't like super into it, or I had like different favorite bands and like I knew the band members' names, I knew the songs, I knew the albums. I wasn't that much into it. So, but I do like all the same type of music you guys have been talking about. Like as I've like, you know, grown older later in my life, I go, oh, I'm like discovering new things, and I like this, and I like pop punk and all kinds of different things.
I just want you to be like a 30-year-old that I turn on to like all-time low for the first time and like take you, and you're like the only 30-year-old man like in the crowd surrounded by like girls in their 20s like singing along to Weightless and
yes, oh my God,
and Wendy and
that was like my dad. My dad would go to all those concerts with me. Someone said I love Michael Bublé. No.
Okay, no. We don't diss Michael Bublé. Michael Bublé has his time, and that is Christmas time. But also, he is wonderful and Canadian, and yeah. And I love the fact that Michael Bublé's mother got so angry at him when he broke up with Emily Blunt because she wanted her to be. Did you guys realize this? They dated for like 5 years or something like that, and then like he broke up with her, and that's when she got with John Krasinski, and I was like, yay. But his mother, Michael Bublé's mom, was so angry at him that she like wouldn't talk to him for Mother's Day.
Stop.
Yeah.
Like Brandon's Michael Bublé's #1 fan. That's why I keep fucking with him with that.
She has the birthday with Michael Bublé.
Oh, we do have the same birthday actually.
Yeah.
September 9th, Virgo. Let's go, Michael King. But yeah. So it's really funny because I talked to Brandon, and like music was so essential to my entire upbringing, to my entire life now. I can't live without music. Like, especially, I've gone to this point where I always grew up loving like alternative female-fronted bands or artists in general. So like Fiona Apple, Mazzy Star, Alanis Morissette, people like that. And then that kind of has like evolved to like Phoebe Bridgers, Julian Baker, Lucy Dacus. And then for anybody who likes that kind of like indie female singer-songwriter type of vibe, the three of them actually did an EP together, which was insane. I had the worst the worst month of my life was October 2018. That was just the worst ever time in my life. Like it was awful. And these are three people that I loved so much beforehand. And then all of a sudden they dropped an EP together at that time. I was like, did y'all make this for me? I was like, oh my God. But
the universe was just tuned into you and your needs. It was like, we need to help Sabrina.
Yeah, I was just like, shit. I went to the concert and I was just like crying. I was singing the EP. I have it on vinyl over there. I've always planned on doing like, for my Patreon, I want to do a stream. I didn't know if enough people like cared, but like about my vinyl collection, because I've been collecting since I was like 10. So that's always something that I kind of wanted to incorporate, because music has been like the biggest thing besides movies as well. Music is like, they're tied for #1 spot.
I mean, you can't have one without the other, in my opinion. Like there's very few movies that like can exist on their own without a soundtrack or a score. And there are so many there are so few albums that you can listen to without forming a story in your head.
Mm-hmm.
So like the two are just intrinsically linked in my brain. I know we're closing in on, I know you got to go soon. I kept you late, but I'm going to ask like a few more questions. Guys, if you have any last second questions, please send those into Streamlabs. I'm going to ask them in like 3 minutes. And then we'll close out with my famous last question. So what was your very first concert? Was it Warped Tour?
Oh yeah, I think well, okay, so technically I went to actually Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake when I was like 3 years old. It was Britney Spears and NSYNC. And I think I was 3 years old, and my mom took me, which I don't know why, and I don't remember it, but technically that was my first concert. First concert that I remember was Warped Tour. Yeah, it was in 5th grade. And I remember like so vividly seeing 303 because they Don't Trust Me and like all that shit. That bangers.
That was the year. I was actually we've discussed this, just the two of us, but that was the year that I was actually on Warped Tour, working, and could have very much run across Sabrina if she had like waited in the AT&T line to like meet 303. But that was the year that 303 went from like a side stage, literally played one of the smaller side stages, and less than halfway through the tour, were playing the main stage and like headlining because they had to, because they were the tour favorite. And so many of us would take our breaks during 303. And I remember one year, I think we were in Portland, and like Portland, Oregon. And there were so many people on the stage and jumping up and down during Don't Trust Me that like the stage started to collapse. And like they had to stop it, and they're like, so we have to move these guys up and we have to like cut off people. Like it was so important. Like Sean and Nat are like, I love those boys.
That entire album just bops. Like I was obsessed with that album in 5th grade. It's such a good one.
Want is, guys, if you want to listen to two white boys from Colorado with 5.0s from the University of Colorado rap and laugh your ass off, please, dear God, go onto Amazon or Apple, like iTunes, buy Want by 3OH apostrophe 3. 303.
What is it? Was it like 303?
It was 303. 303.
Gosh, Photo Finish, Rich Man, like all of those bops. Like that was 5th grade. Don't Trust Me. So good. Girl. So
White Legs, Daisy Dukes, makes a man go. Woo! Oh my God. That I love them so much. And they're just two skinny white boys from Colorado. So good. Just being ridiculous and having fun. Okay, so definitely that. What was your favorite concert that you've ever been to?
Ooh, oh my God. I would say the first time I saw Fall Out Boy, because it was just a life-changing experience. There's been a lot. Bon Iver was a beautiful concert. I've never seen Sufjan Stevens, guys. I would hope.
What?
I know. One day I will. So I've been to like literally, I would go to concerts multiple times a week when I was growing up. Like I've been to so many concerts I can't even possibly count. And I know it's the same thing with Rachel. Like I just can't, to those people who are like, I've never been to a concert. I've only been to like 3 concerts in my life. I'm like, I used to go to like 3 a week all when I was growing up. Like but I also grew up by a lot of venues in Chicago. So you would just like pay like $5 and you could see like any artist that you liked. I saw 1975 when they only had a few songs out and they weren't famous at all in America. Mm-hmm. I saw them for like $5 and I was like, fuck yeah, like I'll meet them or whatever. And I saw their stuff. So
like how I saw Fall Out Boy opening for
exactly
literally Armor for Sleep, who nobody fucking knows if they weren't in the scene in the early 2000s, but they were opening, not like a supporting band, opening for Armor for Sleep.
Yeah. That's absolutely insane. So I would say probably Fall Out Boy. If I ever saw Sufjan Stevens, it would definitely be Sufjan. I saw Phoebe Bridgers and Connor Oberst from Bright Eyes. They made an album together called Better Oblivion Community Center. I saw them in Koreatown at the Wiltern in 2019, like in August 2019. Oh, so good. And oh my God.
Yeah. Camshaft.
The Hollywood Bowl.
Camshaft is one of the very few people that I don't know from the touring world who can probably trade me story for story. Like, she's got some fucking
Freaking awesome.
bomb ass stories. Yes, Dylan. Armor for Sleep is so good. They were so tiny, and they had like the MySpace like spiky hair and smooth down. Oh, I miss them so dearly. Okay, so we do have a few Streamlabs to get to. And then I'll ask my favorite last question because I know that you got to get going, and I have to pee like a pregnant racehorse. So PC sent in, said, so sweet. Thanks for the quick laugh, ladies. Remember to, I don't know, Nike, just do it. Ha, life is too short. Very true. She also came back about 10 minutes ago and said, look, I can do this all night. Bottom line, no one better than LA. I mean, we do have a lot of like indie, sorry, I gotta adjust on the couch. We do have a lot of indie and amazing venues that you can see anybody from like a dirt band from Kentucky to like headlining at the Staples. We have venues that can fit every band, which is fantastic and like broadens your horizons. And then PLD donated and says, towards Sabrina being able to hire a new drink server, Brandon, just not cutting the mustard. Sorry, Brandon.
Yeah, I think he's tired. I had to text him. I was like, refill. And then he came and like refilled it. So
I mean,
we got that nap time.
We're going a little late, and you've been on streaming for a long time. And then PC comes back, says, Jake's song as the outro. I don't understand.
Oh, Jake's music.
Oh, dude. Oh my God. Yes. Honestly, like if 303 had stayed together, I would 100% be like, Nat, Sean, you need to listen to this guy who's a friend of mine, and he needs to open for you, because that is the type of shit. Like, it's so fucking good. Oh God. Guys, if you don't know, Jake, can you post a link to your songs in the chat, because that needs to be in existence for everyone to realize what the fuck genius songwriter and musician you are.
I will never forget. I'm pretty sure we played it on like SCN before. I'm like,
oh yeah,
a bop. Like, I'm like, this is a whole ass jam. Everybody deserves to hear it. You just sit there. I mean, we're just vibing at our homes right now. So just play Jake's stuff. Continue, Jake. If you haven't made music in a long time, can you please just update us with another beautiful album?
That's what he's still working on shit. Jake, give us some new shit, and let us listen to your old stuff. Okay, so it is like I really like have to pee like a crazy woman. So I'm gonna ask you my favorite last question. One of my favorite movies, if not my favorite movie of all time, is Almost Famous, because it is kind of the story of my life. And the last question that William asks: do you have to be happy to write a love song? Do you have to be sad to write a sad song? What is it that you love about music?
Gosh, the thing I love about music is that it incorporates like writing. Like, I know some people who like listen to music and they don't pay attention to lyrics, but that's the first thing for me that I pay attention to. And music can elevate your emotions or change your emotions. Like, any song you put on, it just depends on how that specific thing affects you. So for me, obviously, Sufjan Stevens is somebody, and like Bright Eyes, Phoebe Bridgers, those are all people that I listen to that I feel like are so similar to my writing as a writer that it's almost like I feel like they like understand me on like a different, it's weird because the things that we write about, and they make it so accessible by adding it to a little melody and making it something beautiful and a piece of art that we all can consume ourselves. Like, I just feel like it's a very accessible way to tap into our emotions and tap into our feelings and tap into something else. And you can just sit there and listen to something and like understand your emotions and reach a certain level that we hadn't before. And music, I think, is like the most important thing. It's something that I really give it credit for everything in my entire life. Like, growing up and being a fan of every kind of music ever, it's changed my life. It's like saved my life. Like, it's my first love. My first love is music, and then my like second love is movies. And I love them both the same now, but music is everything to me. So It's just, that's how it is. What is music? It's everything to me. Like, it's just like my entire life. I couldn't imagine it without the music that I listen to.
I love that so much. And every time I ask that question, I get a different answer. And I love the fact that you touch on something that I fully believe in, is that like you listen to certain pieces of music to elevate or to decimate an emotion. And it's one of the things that I love about music. So on that note, thank you so much for coming on. I miss you so much. I can't wait to see you in a few days. Guys, say goodbye to Sabrina, and I'll go pee after I'm done and come back if you want to hang out, but I know you have shit to do, so I understand. So everybody say goodbye. I love you. Bye. All right, real quick. I know we're running a little bit late, but I will say this. I have a new show coming out. Apparently, I am now a regular on the Gucciverse. We have our season 1 Mandalorian recap on Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. We have our first episode on Saturday on Halloween, actually, on 10 a.m. Pacific time. My golden day is this coming Sunday at 4 p.m. So if you are a Patreon, which is this, I have 3 tiers to choose from, monthly hangouts. We're doing a watch along this next week for Halloween. You guys are the best, and I love you.